everybody, welcome to the Founder's Mentality. This is episode 9. Today I have an incredibly special guest to me on this show. This is somebody that everybody watching is likely already very familiar with. You've probably seen him in videos with me on LinkedIn. You've probably seen him razzing me at his famous Coffee and Closers events. You know this guy, but I'm going to let him give a real quick introduction about who he is and what he is up to before we get started. So Mickeli Bedore, welcome to the show.
Well, hey, thanks a ton, Josh. It's fun to finally be on your show. I mean, I thought maybe I would have been on earlier because of all the stuff I do for you.
Oh, sure. Sorry about that.
No, I'm serious. To be able to follow Clarence and your guest list has been incredible. So it's a huge honor to be on the show, man.
Appreciate that. Yeah. So tell us what you're up to. What's your background? Why are you even on this show?
Yeah. So I like to think of myself as a sales entrepreneur.
Yep.
So professionally, I sell the best damn fintech software on planet Earth, NetSuite, and I get a chance to help professional service companies within the $20 million to $200 million revenue sector be as profitable and organized as possible.
Awesome.
And I love that because I get to put on a suit and act like an adult.
Yeah.
And it also feeds kind of that service and strategy kind of side of my brain.
Yeah.
And then when I'm not doing that, in my free time, I like to launch companies with my wife, Allison.
Right.
So we've launched, 4 if you count the software, three companies in the last 5 years, 2 product companies, Otium Outdoors and a CBD company called Hemini, and then a professional or a media company that houses coffee and closers that you're very familiar with.
Yep, BeBG.
And then that allows, it kind of fulfills that creative side of the brain that I kind of left when I stopped playing music professionally and get a chance to just kind of be a role player, right?
Yes.
Support her in marketing and some sales, and then it feeds that side of the brain. So together, I got a good thing going.
So we're gonna pull this apart a little bit more because most of the people listening, I would assume, are sitting there thinking, wait a minute, I thought he was the coffee and closers guy. And they're going, where did the rest of that stuff come from? And that's why I wanted to have you on this show, because I don't think that enough people understand that you truly do have the founder's mentality. You truly do found businesses. You have struck out and done your own startups. You've created things. And Coffee and Closers is one of those things that you've created. That's where I was first introduced to you, was attending your shows. And before we get too far into this, I just want to give you a sincere thank you. I have a huge appreciation for what you created with Coffee and Closers. I've been going pretty much since day one.
I know, man.
I have met some of my favorite people in my life by attending your show. And I probably would have never met them had I not gone there. I remember the first time I met you and the first time I started meeting the guests that were coming on your show and the people that were attending your show, I thought, I'm not worthy. What am I even doing in this room? What am I doing in this room? A lot of those people have become very close friends and have helped me in my career, you included, in so many ways. So I wanted to thank you, and I'm sure I'm not the only salesperson in this local community that feels that way, but it needs to be said.
Thank you.
So, Coffee and Closers. Let's start with that, because I think that's where most people watching this are going to know you from. Where did that come from? Why did you even create Coffee and Closers?
There's kind of two sides to it, man. Susie on our team, she's kind of keeps everything in check and keeps me organized.
Sure.
And she was, one day, we were having our kind of L10 meeting on a Monday, and she's like, look at your calendar. Which one of these makes money?
Yeah.
And none of them did. I was guilty of, listen, I love this art and science of sales. Like, I love it. We've talked about this at length.
Yep.
I owe my life to it for various reasons. But anyway, I love it. And I love to enable other people with the superpower that is sales, because sales isn't what people think.
Right.
It's do you believe in what you have? Do you think you can help this other person? And do you keep your promises?
Yes.
Kind of in a nutshell. And I love to teach. But what was happening is I was running around town, having coffees all day, every day. And these people, my team, depended on me to produce the revenue.
Right.
And I wasn't, because I was focused on giving my time away.
Yeah.
And so she said, hey, I have an idea. Why don't you have people come to you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, And she's like, how about, we give them a reason. And so we thought, all right, let's do an event. And we wanted to be sales centered, obviously. And so we started kind of thinking. And what happened back then, like, it's funny how it's like, it's cool and scummy and cool and scummy. And thanks to Wolf of Wall Street and whatever the hell else, the latest movie that comes out that makes us all look like a bunch of savages. It wasn't as cool, and there wasn't a platform that I found that was like, hey, let's highlight the people. All the stories at the time were, the CEO and that CEO, but no one was really highlighting the people that helped that CEO get that round.
Yes.
The chief revenue officer, the VP of sales, or just your sales team in general. And I'm like, you know what? Let's interview those people.
Yeah.
And selfishly, it's because I wanted an hour with some of my heroes.
Yep.
I wanted an hour and to learn, what do they do? Like, when they get stumped, what do they do?
Right.
And then we just started to record it so I didn't have to take notes and look weird. Because can you imagine the host going, good. How do you spell that? It just, we recorded it. Yeah. And then now here's what it is.
Here it is.
But the mission of it absolutely is, to highlight those folks that have done those incredible things. But also, if you communicate with human beings at all on a daily basis, you sell, right? Because it's all about purposeful communication that's kind of based with drive and purpose, and that's sales. And so we all sell our children, we all sell professionally, whether we're an entrepreneur or a founder or whatever, we have to sell that vision. And I thought, why not celebrate the climb? You don't learn anything from the win. No. It's that climb. And so if we can all celebrate the failures and the struggles together and wrap it in a sales bow, I think people would show up to that. And they have,
Now you got me thinking, I wonder how much I can sell my children for. Because I'm a big fan of selling things. So, I mean, they're kind of at that terrible stage
let me ask you this.
So.
Do they look like you or like your wife?
Unfortunately, they look more like me than my wife. So I'm going to beat you to it.
Sell something else.
Something else. Yeah, I was going to beat you to the punchline. Yeah, because if anybody watching this knows, Mick and I razz each other pretty regularly, and it's all out of love, I believe, and that's fine. But no, so I mean, Coffee and Closers has been incredible, and I think that the thing that I love about it so much, and I don't think that this was intentional by any means. I do not think that when you started Coffee and Closers, you knew what was going to be happening in the next year or two with media, but it has become so critically important for sales professionals to find a way to essentially themselves become a media resource, a media outlet. This is how sales professionals are perfecting the art of social selling right now. This is how sales professionals are building trust in a digital environment. It is incredibly impactful for just building that early trust before you even reach out to somebody. I mean, I know that we both have the same thing where when we're creating content, many times people are reaching out to us proactively that make a great customer fit, right? That is now the modern day cold call, in a way, is just creating content, drumming up interest, building trust, and then the leads come to you.
Absolutely.
And Coffee and Closers really has kind of turned into that for you. And I think that you were very smart to start it when you did.
Thanks,
and now it's at a point where pretty regularly when I show up, there's 100 people in the audience every single time, which is amazing when you just celebrated a year, just 3 months ago?
I think so, yeah.
So that's great. Okay. Yeah. Coffee and Closers is done. Now we're going to talk about the fact that, yes, in your background, you've actually started multiple companies. You've done multiple things. So talk about all of these things just a little bit. I know you don't want to talk about them too much, but let's let everybody know, like, you really are a founder. It's funny how it's easier to teach than do. So I love the marketing aspect. I'm a sales guy by design. But that's the label that I've given myself. I also enjoy marketing, and very few know that I actually done the marketing behind a lot of these different projects, and that's okay. I just really enjoy it. I did the marketing when I was in the band. We used to sell out like Fine Line, and we were good. The guys were great. I was average at best. But it was fun to like pump it up and make us look bigger than we were. Right. But yeah, I really enjoy that side, and so I think I'm not hiding that we've built these projects. But I kind of deflect. I'm really bad with compliments. I'm like, ooh. So but so so my wife and I did a little real estate stuff. Okay. So we would kind of buy these century homes that were multifamily kind of things, and we would pretty them up, and then we would start a little portfolio, and that, though not technically a startup, it really got us to learn
checks and balances,
Yeah.
expenses,
Yeah.
right? Filing, when you start, any sort of S Corp or LLC, you find out that you got to file.
Yeah.
And then we started Otium, Otium Outdoors. We were named #1 sport utility rack in Men's Journal.
Right.
That was super exciting. We hit 270% to our crowdfunding goal.
Yep.
So that was neat.
Yep.
I learned a lot, and what I learned the most is maybe I'm a better role player than I am a true founder. But and the reason I learned that is because I got to work next to two really great people, and that was good. And then that gave me the confidence to kind of start BeBG, which has morphed a bunch. But our business group, it's currently our media arm, which is what copying closers, and we've got some other stuff coming up.
Yep.
But it started as a revenue growth agency.
Yep.
Which we've kind of since dissolved, but we were able to build some really cool, really high growth teams at Lead Pages and Field Nation and Infor and so on and so forth. And then when we pivoted to be kind of a fractional VP of sales thing, we're able to take help guide a couple companies to acquisition with the help obviously of the leadership at those companies.
Yep.
And that was great. And then most recently, my wife launched I shouldn't say my wife, Zach Robbins and Dan Watson launched a CBD company.
Yep.
Which is
Heminy.
Yeah, which is doing really well right now.
Yeah.
And and the cool thing about all those things is I get to just be a role player.
Yeah.
Right. I just get to be. I purposely don't put myself on the board.
Yep.
I own 25% or whatever, depending on how many partners. I own a good share, but I get to just do the marketing and the sales.
Right.
I make no decisions. Right. I get to sit there and just go, yay.
Right. Right.
And it's kind of refreshing,
right?
Especially being that founder where everyone's livelihood depends on you, including the livelihood of your clients.
Yeah.
I found and that's probably why I don't ever bring it up.
Right.
Because in my mind, am I a founder? Even though technically on our ops agreement I am.
Yes.
I'm just a role player within the organization, so I forget that. I guess I founded a handful of companies on the side.
Done a couple things. Yeah. But I think so. We've had other guests that have started their journey in larger corporations and then taken the plunge. We have some other guests coming up that are doing the same exact thing. And so I think that it's important for everyone to understand where you first came from. And you do start your shows with this as well. So anyone that's attended knows the background. But you did not start as a founder. You started with a passion for sales, working for some of the largest corporations in the world, bringing in some incredible revenue, being responsible for some incredible things. You took that, you started BeBG. I'm gonna let you talk to this. You started BeBG, and everything was about sales. You worked with some of the biggest brands in Minnesota and some in the world to help them generate more revenue through that. And now full circle, you still got this focus on sales, and you're doing this. I mean, this sales is a passion for you, right? Any technical founder out there that is looking for a co-founder that is more sales focused is looking exactly for someone like you. And I know you got your own things going on now, and you're not looking for that sort of role, but that's what they need, right? So do you want to talk about kind of that journey? How did you go from those amazing jobs you had to deciding to launch something new, to bringing it all back full circle, to being able to continue to sell for those types of organizations?
Oh man, that's a brilliant question.
There you go.
You're not as dumb as you look.
I know.
No matter what everybody outside of this office thinks.
Thanks.
Okay, don't believe that.
Thanks.
Hey,
on to the next part.
I got you.
Yeah.
Sorry. I love this guy. Where's the cameras? I love this guy. So.
There's cameras everywhere.
You only tease
Look at any of them. Look at that. No.
Is there a camera on this TV?
Yeah.
No, man, I adore you. You know that. So thanks for that question. I haven't been asked that in that way. So there's kind of, the story is, I mean, you said passion about sales. I depend on sales. I mean, twice in my life, or three times if you want to count it, you say passionate about sales. I was passionate about getting my ass out of credit card debt right out of college. Or I went from college to New York City. I lived in Manhattan, and I got to be an entertainment agent.
Yep.
And I was making a 21-year-old's salary, spending though like the celebrities that I was to promote. So that was a learned experience.
Nice. Yeah.
And so that kind of fueled, I would say, the technology sales path, and I'll get to that. But it kind of started when I was about 14 or 15 years old. And I've told you this, but for those listeners that haven't, I'll make it brief, is I was told about that time. So I grew up in a really small community. It's called Hawley, Minnesota, is where I graduated from, out by Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. There's about 55 kids in my class, and I was I was a monkey, man. I don't blame anyone but myself.
Sure.
Right? I was like, I don't got time for this.
Right.
I was in a band.
Right.
Which, by the way, I tell you this story, but when I didn't want to go to college, I wanted to be in a band.
Yeah.
I wanted to be with a band with this guy, Matt Ockery.
Sure.
And, grades were suffering because of it.
Yeah.
And I thought I had hair and I thought I was cool. I wasn't. My parents were like, no, you're the first kid in our whole tribe that's going to go to college. You're going to do that and you're going to pay for it also. And I was like, no, I want to be in a band. And they're like, Mickey, that will never work out. I feel like the rock star now. Like this sales thing has really been such a blessing. Yeah. And anyway, back to the story is I was told by a guidance counselor that basically your grades are, you're not going to get into college.
Right.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
You might consider tech school.
Yeah.
But I was failing. Yeah. I just came from tech class. That was just my home ec or home or whatever.
Yeah.
And that I was failing. I was failing tech class. They had this like shelf or whatever, and it just was. I mean, you wouldn't want children around it. It was going to fall on somebody. God forbid it was a child. So I was failing that, and I'm like, I don't even know if she knew that. And I was like, whoa. Yeah. There wasn't even a fast food joint in my town at the time. It was 1,200 people.
Yeah.
To support my dumbass.
Right. Yeah.
So that what am I? Oof. And then my uncle. So my uncle Jonna is a hero of mine. He was my confirmation sponsor. I got my black belt through him. I followed my guitar playing music through him. He just was just a guy I really gravitated towards.
Yep.
He invited me out one day and he said, "Hey Mickey, it's summer. You don't have school. Why don't you hop in my Bernie van?" He was selling Bernie Tell's pizza.
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, you come with me and all the pop you can drink, free lunch. What do you say?" And I was like, I got nothing better to do. Let's do this. So we go and we start visiting his clients, and everywhere he went, people were like, Jonna. They were celebrating him, hugging him.
Yeah.
They're pinching each other. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this all? What do you get? Like, you get paid to do all the stuff that I'm getting in trouble for in school. Like, you get paid for this, right? He's like, yeah, they pay me quite well. And I'm like, what is it, man? And he's like, sales. This is sales. And I was like, done. I'm in.
Yeah.
And so my first sales job ever was, so the people you go to like Costco and they have samples.
Yeah.
And so he had these Bernatello. It was like 3 for 1 or 5 for whatever. I don't know what the hell it was, but it was stacks of pizzas.
Yeah.
And so you're to give samples, but no one gave me any rules. He's just like, just sell the pizzas. Yeah. And I'm like, so sell these pizzas. Okay. So then I started cooking them and be like, hey, 3 for 10. And then I'd say, you don't want to walk away. How good was that? And basically probably the worst. If I could, I'm glad there was no Facebook around to record that.
Sure.
I probably sucked. But I ended up selling out, like we'd sell out and then he'd get calls from the front desk. They're like, hey, can you bring more cases of pizza? Yeah. And he's like, what do you mean? And so that was kind of the beginning. Now, granted, I had no commission. I don't even know if I got paid to do it.
Sure.
But I was like, and that builds the confidence. That's really all sales is.
Yes.
I mean, we hear so many no's that we have to have that confidence.
Yes.
So then fast forward then, I like I told you about my first job out of college was to be an entertainment agent. Found myself in a little bit of a hole because I didn't have a credit card until they made me get one.
Right.
To comp out, taking people out. Well, no one took Amex then.
Yeah.
So I had to throw it on my Visa. I didn't understand compound interest.
Yep.
Lesson 1. So I had a little bit to pay off. And so I got into Concur. I got to sell travel and expense reporting.
Yep.
And that was the tape. Actually, that's not true. Verizon was prior to that. So I was at Verizon selling like BI and analytics when people would say, I think this website thing is a fad. No joke. Then Concur, then Oracle, then IBM. And because of the credit card thing, what I was able to kind of figure out is they have territories. You have a territory, so you cover like a part of the United States.
Yep.
That's your territory. That's yours.
Yep.
And what they would say is they're like, well, here's this territory, and here's the quota for that, and here's how much you could make if you blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then here's this piece of trash territory over here, and I'm like, but look at how much I could potentially make.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, I'll just take that because I got about 30 grand I got to figure out how I'm going to pay off.
Yeah. Give me the hardest territory with the biggest commissions. Yeah.
And then what happened was then I would work my buns off.
Yeah.
Like no one was going to outwork me. And I love to serve. So it just, sales is really, it pairs well with my personality. I love to serve.
Yep.
I love to self-pain. I don't get embarrassed, and I'm shameless.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna, unless you, my family, or there's only like 2 things on earth that will offend me.
Yeah.
So I can take a punch.
Right.
And so taking these bad territories, I found that, hey, there was always a reason. There was always a chink in the armor. A lot of times it was reps prior just totally shit all over these people.
Yeah.
You know, took advantage of them. Yeah. And I got to apologize and say, hey, I wasn't there.
Right.
Let me fix this, or
right.
whatever. And so I started turning these territories, you know, one after another. Verizon was a President's Club. Concur, I won't take all the credit because we kind of paired up with our field reps.
Yep.
But we won a couple Eagle Awards, which is I think like a President's Club.
Yep.
Then I went to Oracle and took the territory I hadn't seen the light of revenue for a while, and had 3 reps prior just quit and turned that into a President's Club. President's Club, by the way, for those non-sales people, is like, it's about 1 to 5%. Right. So if you hit a President's Club, you were in the top 1 to 5%. Just varies on the company.
Right.
And then same thing happened with IBM. So then what happened at IBM was we were able to turn a territory in about 18 months, much quicker than I thought. I look at these things and I go, all right, I will dedicate all of my energy in being for 3 years, and then we'll recalibrate and just see if it makes sense to, move up or move out.
Yeah, but I gotta cut you off here because I want to keep this under 30 minutes, and I want to get to 2 other important things with this, because what people are listening to right now is they're going, these were huge companies that you were working at successfully, and I know I probably sound like a broken record to a lot of the listeners of this podcast because it always gets to the spouse card of the show. We have to mention our spouses because how did you go? What happened? What was that conversation when you went from working at those companies to deciding, you know what? I'm going to try to step away from this for a little bit and try my own thing with BeBG and Otium and all the things.
Yeah, man. That was funny, or like not funny, haha, probably, scary funny, is we had just had our first kid. So we started BeBG, or this whole adventure kind of started about 4 years ago. My daughter was 0 years old. She was actually 6 months old at the time. My son is now, fast forward, 6 months old. And at IBM, for me, I'd had the President's Club, I had the success. I thought, you know what, I don't have anywhere, there's nowhere left for me to go at this level unless I switch my role, which I didn't want to do.
No. Yeah.
But at the same time, to be honest, I was looking around, man. I was looking for a mentor, looking for who to be, and I just didn't see that person there at the time. You know what I mean? I loved my boss, I loved my team, but I was much younger than the other folks that were there. Yeah. And I was just searching for something. Yeah. And I think it was because I had the kid and the emotions that tie with that. But so I thought, you know, it'd be cool. I should just be an entrepreneur.
Yep.
Now, here's what you don't do. Here's a couple of lessons learned.
Okay.
I did not write a business plan whatsoever. Did you also know that writing things off is just, that's not what Kramer told us in Seinfeld? No. So I bought $5,000 on the glass wild playoff tickets. Yep. And I wrote it off, I thought. Yep. Nope. My tax guy was like, what in the hell?
No, I mean, really quick pause there. Anyone listening to this podcast right now that is starting their first business, really truly look into what is and is not a write-off, and really truly what is write-offable about that write-off, like what that actually means, because many founders get into trouble with this with their first businesses. So I'm sorry, keep going, but that is a very valid thing for many founders.
You know this, man. People always go, when's your biggest failure? I'm like, you talking about like a couple hours ago or last week, or what would you, which one can I reference?
Sure.
So there's a ton. So when I went full-time entrepreneur, because I'd always kind of dabbled on projects, and that's what I do now. I found that it's probably best if I like, kind of have a day job and do. But anyway, that conversation was, it was easier than I thought. And what I've found since is my wife now, I don't launch anything. I don't do anything without her by my side. And in most cases, I'm behind her.
Sure. Yep.
She's much better at all the things.
Agreed.
And, but that's something that I learned too. I mean, like the biggest thing is I can't do it alone. I'm not strong enough to do it alone. And if I'm going to pick someone to have my back or be in my corner, it's going to be her. That was probably the best. If I were to say I've learned a lot of things, that would be the thing that I learned the most is I can do anything with her by my side. You know,
I've worked closely with both of you for a handful of years now. I can vouch for that. Very, very strong person.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Yeah.
Very much the brains of the Bedore operation.
Yep. 100. Oh, I see what you're doing here.
That was only a half joke, honestly. I mean, she is.
Oh,
yeah. I mean,
I'm not going to deny that.
She's incredible. Regardless, it's good to have that, right? It's good to surround yourself with your group of advisors. And how incredible is that your group of advisors is your wife? I mean, I know you have other advisors too, but your wife is one of your advisors. Absolutely incredible. Okay. So we're up to 25 minutes right now, and I'm gonna keep this under 30 minutes. But I wanted to circle back on something that I wanted to talk to you about, because both of us in this market, and we touched on this a little bit earlier, both of us are very invested in producing content, in building our personal brand online, in letting people know who we are through the content that we produce, and both of us have found tremendous value in doing that. That's part of why this exists, is so that I can continue creating my message, but to also give people like you a platform to push your message as well. And we've supported each other on both of our shows.
Yes, we have, and I appreciate that.
So, but one thing that we were talking about the other day that I found really interesting, I didn't know this fact, you didn't know this fact, but we were talking about, I came across some old video that Gary Vee had put together. I think he probably made the video about 7 years ago, so this is a little dated, but I never knew this. He was talking about this little beer company that had been around for years and years and years, who about 65, 70 years ago was falling on hardships. They weren't having, their customers weren't buying as much of their beer, and they thought, gee, how can we get people to start purchasing our product again? What can we create that will start building some interest? This company was Guinness Beer, and they created the Guinness Book of Records because they identified that their customers were interested in these sorts of things. That long ago, they were already seeing the future and saying, we need to become a media outlet to get our customers interested. It is incredibly important for businesses.
Yes.
Talk about the persona, the character that you've created, essentially, this online resource and this coffee and closers thing. How has that really impacted everything that you do with sales and building business?
Well, so I told you about, my latest kind of venture with NetSuite.
Yep.
I literally sold the inferior product at an award-winning rate like 8 years ago.
Yep.
We didn't talk about that.
Yep.
The VPs of we sat there and they were like, hey, I love episode whatever with this guy, and you know what I would do different is I would span out and show how many people are actually there. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Am I in the right room? That's all we talked about was coffee and closers.
Yeah.
That's it. That was like, so it's helped with that. Plus, it's like when we launch a Hemini or we do anything really, they look and I think they go, hey, this guy's been giving away advice or help or inspiration for free for so many years. I believe that if he has something, I'm going to listen because I know that he has my best interest at heart, which is true. And this has helped, I tell you.
Dude, you just said something that's incredibly important actually, though, in this, because sales right now is more about starting from where can I help? And that is all Coffee and Closers is about. How can I help? How can I help you?
Yeah.
When you start with how can I help, you immediately build trust.
Yeah.
Because if somebody is willing to open up to you about the ways you can help them, and you hear them and you listen to them, that is how you can move to the next level.
Yes.
And that's, in my mind, the true genius behind what Coffee and Closers is. That's, in my mind, the true genius of that.
I don't think I've ever been called a genius in my life, so I'm going to take that.
I didn't say you are a genius. I said, no, I'm kidding. No, that's the genius behind that.
Thanks, man.
No, so I mean, I think, what you've done, what you've created in that, again, you were seeing the future when you created it, whether you acknowledged it or not. It has become an incredibly important aspect to a lot of people in this community. There are a lot of founders that listen to this show that are not prolific in sales. A lot of the founders in town are technical founders.
True.
And technical founders are looking for ways to better promote themselves, to better sell themselves, to better sell their products. Because sales for an entrepreneur, as you know, is not just about customers, right? You have to sell to investors. You have to sell to your team. You have to get people to believe in your mission and get them to buy in.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
Developing those sales skills is critically important.
Yeah.
What I would say, I would love to see come out of this. Any technical founders that are out there that are watching this, start coming to Coffee and Closers.
Amen.
Start learning more about how to hone those skills. You don't need to be the best salesperson in the room, but you do need to know how to sell, because I'm selling all day long. I'm selling my team that's building my product. I'm selling investors that are investing in my product. I'm selling customers.
I'll tell you this. I know we're cut for time, but as an entrepreneur, so when I put on my entrepreneur hat, I will tell you I am selling more there than I am as a professional salesperson. Because in most cases with the products I've sold, we've got a good strategy on how to at least perk your interest, and then it's my job to make sure that I educate you in the way that speaks to you, and we do everything that we promised. Okay. But when you're an entrepreneur, you're selling your CPA on, hey, dude, I need you to bump us up early because we're going to go on vacation, whatever it is. You're selling in all avenues. And so I'm with you, man. We really wanted to reach. There's Robert Nelson, if he's listening to this from Foundry. He's
Robert
one
Nelson.
of the profiles that I told him. I'm like, we're gonna start this thing way back when we were having a beer at, I don't know where the hell we were, and I said, I want to start this thing for guys like you. And he goes, yeah, I'm not ever gonna come to that. And you know what? Truth be told, he never has. But I think that it'd be great if he could, if he would, or other people, because you'll find that sales is not what you think. It isn't the Wolf of Wall Street. Sales is, I'm passionate about this restaurant, so I'm going to tell you about it in an excited way, and I'm going to hope you join me to go.
Yes.
Or this, sales reach.
Yep.
I think it's the best damn product in the market. You know that. But you're very passionate about that. You know they can help people. You just got to explain it in a way that doesn't come off as you're trying to, hurt them because you're so excited.
Exactly.
Not you. I'm just saying.
No, exactly.
Founders get so excited. If you can rein that in a little bit, well, that's sales. So if we look at it in that light, we say, I think I could get better at that.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I show up to Coffee and Closers?
You basically just described the scene in Tommy Boy with his pretty little pet where he destroys the the bread in the restaurant. Anyway, I learned everything I know about sales from Tommy Boy. It's a great show, so everyone should watch that. But
it looks like you've also decided to look like Tommy Boy, as the years have gone.
Oh, I love you so much. So we're going to have to cut this one off because we're over time and the jabs just keep coming. I can't take anymore. This is my show, darn it. So
you're right.
No, Mick, this has been awesome having you on here. What I can say right now confidently is that we're going to have to do this again.
Love to.
Obviously we're going to have to take a break in between, but in 6 to 12 months, I need to have you back on here. I want to learn more about what you're doing with NetSuite. I think it's incredibly exciting. I know how passionate you are about selling just products that just honestly kick ass like that, right? And I know that you're going to blow it out of the water. And so I want to have you back to talk about that experience a little bit more when you have a little bit more of that to talk to us about.
Absolutely.
But regardless, if anybody wants to get in contact with you, the best way to connect with you is what?
I would say LinkedIn is probably, that's kind of my jam.
Okay.
So,
all right. And I would also say just come to your show.
Yeah, that'd be the second best, that would be the best actually, is come to a Coffee and Closer show because we built it for you.
Right.
We built it for you. That's the mission.
Well, and you are 100% available after the show ends to everybody. I've seen it a handful of times, as are your guests. So if people are watching and seeing guests that you're about to have on and they're thinking, wow, I've wanted to have a meeting with that person in forever, don't start sending them messages on LinkedIn. Just show up at the event and have an actual conversation with them.
That's why we do it live, so people can connect, man.
Yeah. Dude, this has been great. You're a true friend. You're a true inspiration to me. I've enjoyed every conversation I've ever had with you. Having you on here has been great. So thank you for taking some time out of the day. Anybody listening, I hope you enjoyed this as well, and look forward to seeing you again on our next episode. The Big 10 is our next episode with Kara Rios of Delt Pro. It's going to be a really good one.
It's a good one.
Probably better than this one. So we'll talk to...
You had to do it, didn't you?
I had to get one jab in. I'll see you guys then. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.